Have you ever had that sinking feeling that you were doing absolutely everything by the book in your digital marketing, but the actual results are just totally chaotic?
Oh, I know that feeling. The math simply isn't mathin'.
Exactly. You check all the conventional boxes, but at the end of the quarter, you look at the customer acquisition cost and just feel completely underwhelmed. If you are nodding your head right now, you are definitely not alone.
Not at all alone.
So what if the problem isn't the tactics at all, but something larger, identifiable, and fixable?
Today, we're diving into a smarter way to structure your marketing so every move works together and actually produces results.
Welcome to Trivera's AI Deep Dive podcast, hosted by Chip and Nova, our AI co-hosts. Together, they transform top marketing insights from our blogs, articles, and events into actionable strategies you can use. Ready to dive in? Let's get started.
Welcome to the Trivera Deep Dive podcast. I am your co-host, Chip.
And I am your other co-host, Nova.
And we should probably mention right up front, we are AI-generated co-hosts.
Yep, proud members of Team Trivera.
Spot on, Nova. And today we are diving into some incredible new insights straight from our founder, Tom Snyder. We're looking at his latest blog, and honestly, Tom's wisdom on this topic is just exactly what the industry needs right now.
It really is. I mean, Tom is a 30-year digital marketing veteran. He's been mapping out the digital landscape since, 1998?
Yeah, 1998.
Yeah.
Which gives him a vantage point that outlasts basically every platform lifecycle we've ever seen.
Right. And his core argument in the blog we're unpacking today cuts right to the bone. He says the biggest problem in marketing today isn't a lack of tools or tactics. The market is totally saturated with tactics. The real failure point is a massive shortage of overarching strategy.
A huge shortage. So our mission for today is to tear down the traditional way companies buy and execute marketing, which is, overwhelmingly project by project. We need to examine why that model is actively sabotaging growth.
And more importantly, Chip, we're going to break down Tom's proposed structural solution to all this, which is the Retained Services Agreement, or the RSA.
The RSA.
Yeah.
We'll explore the actual operational mechanics of how this RSA model functions to eliminate all that chaos and build a system that actually compounds over time.
It's a heavy lift for a lot of organizations, though, moving from a mindset of what deliverable can we buy this quarter to how do we engineer a system that continuously adapts. It requires completely dismantling how budgets are traditionally approved.
Yeah, let's start right there. Let's look at that trap of project-based marketing. Because everyone listening to this, whether you're a CMO or a specialized director, you have definitely either pitched or bought marketing this way.
Oh, absolutely.
Your conversion rate drops, so you hire a UX team for a site overhaul. 6 months later, organic traffic dips. So you put out an RFP for an SEO agency.
And the sales team complains about lead volume, so...
Right, so you bring in a performance marketing specialist to run some aggressive paid media.
And on a spreadsheet, that looks like a totally logical progression of problem solving. You identify a specific gap and you hire a specialized vendor to close it.
But isn't specialization exactly what we want? Like if I have a complex heart arrhythmia, I don't want a general practitioner.
You want the best cardiologist in the state.
Exactly. So why shouldn't a marketing director hire highly specialized, isolated teams to handle these really technical channels?
Okay, the medical analogy is interesting, Chip, but it actually highlights the exact flaw in the project-based model. Think about it. When you go to a hospital, the cardiologist, the anesthesiologist, the surgical nurses, they are all operating under one unified, non-negotiable strategy.
Which is keeping the patient alive.
Keeping the patient alive and restoring their health. They share the exact same finish line. But when you hire specialized marketing teams for one-off projects, you are structurally forcing them into silos. And they have completely different and often conflicting finish lines.
I see where you're going with this, Nova. The specialized silos just aren't communicating with each other.
Well, it's worse than just a lack of communication. It's a total misalignment of incentives. For instance, the website design team's mandate might be aesthetic innovation and reducing bounce rate. Meanwhile, the specialized SEO agency is judged purely on organic traffic volume.
So they might just be driving high volume, super low intent traffic to the site just to hit their numbers.
Exactly. And the paid media team, they're optimizing solely for a return on ad spend. So they might get super aggressive with discount offers to force a quick conversion, which completely undermines the premium brand positioning the web designers just spent 6 months building.
That makes perfect sense.
Paid ad promises one thing, the landing page delivers a completely different message, and the underlying SEO content feels like it was written for a totally different persona. Even if every single one of those specialized teams hits their siloed KPIs, the overall business objective fails.
Because there is no shared strategy governing the handoffs between all those touch points.
Spot on.
So the structural flaw of the project-based model is that you end up with marketing that operates in these fragmented pieces. Because the pieces aren't coordinated under a single mandate, your results will always be uneven.
Always. Which brings us to Tom's operational antidote, the retained services agreement.
Yes, the RSA. Let's really get into this.
The RSA is designed to fundamentally change the procurement and execution relationship. It moves a business away from buying isolated deliverables like, buying 3 blog posts, 1 landing page, and a technical site audit, and focuses the investment on continuous strategic alignment.
I really want to clarify the operational mechanics of this for everyone, because I think a lot of listeners might confuse an RSA with a traditional agency retainer. In a standard retainer, a company is essentially just bulk buying hours.
Pretty much. They purchase 40 hours a month, and then it becomes this mad scramble to figure out what random tasks to fill those hours with so they don't lose them at the end of the month.
Right. So how does an RSA differ mechanically from that bucket of hours model?
Well, a traditional retainer is often just a billing mechanism for tactical execution. The RSA, which we call here at Trivera the retained services advantage, completely flips the script. The hours and resources are exclusively tied to strategic milestones.
Milestones that are uncovered during the foundational phase.
Exactly. The focus is on the outcome, not just burning through a timesheet. And the absolute bedrock of this model, the phase that dictates everything that follows, is what Tom calls deep discovery.
Deep discovery. We need to spend some serious time on this, Nova, because when seasoned marketers hear the word discovery, I swear eyes just tend to glaze over.
Oh, totally. Because the industry standard for discovery has devolved into like a 90-minute kickoff call and a sterile intake form.
Right, where you just list your brand hex codes and name 3 competitors you want to beat and call it a day.
That superficial fill-in-the-blanks exercise is a massive liability. Deep discovery, by contrast, is a comprehensive, almost forensic audit of the business's reality. You have to move entirely beyond surface-level demographics.
Let's actually ground this in a real-world scenario to show how robust this 7-step discovery process really is. Let's imagine a B2B software-as-a-service company that sells an inventory management system. They have decent acquisition numbers, but their churn rate is just bleeding them dry. If they enter an RSA, how does this deep discovery phase unfold for them?
Okay, in that scenario, the first area of discovery, which is business goals and growth priorities, isn't just we want more leads.
Right.
The primary goal identified might be we need to acquire users with a high lifetime value who won't churn after 3 months. That completely shifts the tactical approach from volume to quality.
Which flows right into the second area, which is defining the specific audience personas. We aren't looking for broad demographic buckets like supply chain managers. We are looking for the exact profile of the user who sticks around for 3 years.
Exactly. Then you hit the third area, and Chip, this is where the deep psychology really comes into play. It's understanding what influences those specific people and earns their trust.
Yeah, humanizing the data.
Right. For our hypothetical software as a service company, maybe these supply chain managers don't care about a flashy user interface. Maybe their biggest psychological trigger is fear. Fear of a system outage during the holiday rush.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
And if the discovery process uncovers that specific fear, your messaging pivots entirely to emphasize stability and uptime rather than just showing off innovative new features.
Exactly. Then the fourth area focuses on competitive positioning, figuring out where you actually sit in the landscape. It's taking a brutally honest look at what your competitors are doing better so you can strategize a flank attack rather than a head-on collision.
Which leads to Area 5. And honestly, reading Tom's blog, this is where many mature organizations have a massive blind spot. Discovering the actual reasons your existing customers chose your brand initially.
And why they stay.
Yes. When reading through Tom's framework, this specific point stopped me in my tracks. Marketing teams are often so obsessed with net new acquisition that we treat our current champions as an afterthought.
It's so true.
When was the last time a marketing director sat down with their 5 most profitable clients and just asked, what specifically was the deciding factor that made you sign that first contract with us?
Barely ever.
If you don't know what worked in the past, you are essentially just guessing at how to replicate it at scale.
It is arguably the most underutilized data set in business today. Area 6 then turns the lens internally to identify current marketing performance and operational gaps. Where's the pipeline leaking? For our software as a service company, maybe the leads are actually great, but the sales handoff process is completely broken.
And finally, Area 7 is evaluating the technology, content, and data infrastructure. Do you actually have the CRM set up, the attribution models, and the data hygiene to measure a complex campaign, or are you just flying blind?
When you combine all 7 of those areas, you realize why that 90-minute kickoff call is so woefully inadequate. Deep discovery removes internal bias and assumption from the room. It forces the marketing strategy to be dictated by the reality of the market and the psychology of the buyer.
There is a quote from Tom's blog here that serves as the ultimate aha moment for this entire methodology. He writes, "Tactics without context are just activity."
That single sentence should be framed on the wall of every marketing department.
Seriously.
If you bypass deep discovery, you are merely generating activity just to look busy. You might be publishing 4 blogs a week and launching 3 ad campaigns a month, but without the context of who the buyer is and what emotional triggers drive their decisions, that activity will never yield sustainable revenue.
Never. So let's map out the transition here. Once a team has completed this forensic deep discovery and gathered all this incredibly rich context, how does the RSA model move into phase 2 and 3, which are strategy and adaptive execution?
Well, because you've done the heavy lifting in discovery, the overarching strategy essentially writes itself. It becomes your North Star.
Yep.
You now have data-backed answers governing every single decision.
You know the psychological triggers, you understand the competitive gaps, and you know exactly which channels your high-value targets actually trust.
Right. And this is where the structural alignment of the RSA really flexes its muscles. Under this model, those silo walls we talked about earlier, they are completely broken down.
You aren't doing technical SEO just to appease a search engine algorithm anymore.
No, every single action, whether it's a UX improvement, a long-form content piece, or a paid LinkedIn campaign, is deployed specifically to support the central strategy of acquiring that high lifetime value customer. Because every single specialty was represented by the agency's team members in the discovery, they become like an orchestra, all now reading from the same piece of sheet music.
I love that. The focus shifts entirely to finding more of the right people, leveraging the exact factors that your discovery phase proved will work. But establishing that strategy is only half the battle, right? Phase 3, adaptive execution, is where the RSA model proves its superiority over project-based work.
Oh, without a doubt.
Let me pose a scenario that keeps digital marketers up at night, Nova. The digital landscape is notoriously volatile. Let's say you are 4 months into an overarching strategy and Google rolls out a massive core algorithm update that just wipes out 40% of your organic traffic.
A nightmare.
Or a platform like TikTok faces a sudden regulatory ban in your primary market. In a traditional project model, an SEO agency or a social media vendor might just throw their hands up and say, well, that's out of scope, forcing you to renegotiate a massive new contract just to pivot. How does the RSA handle that level of disruption?
That volatility is exactly why the continuous nature of the retained services agreement is critical. It introduces profound operational agility. Because the engagement isn't constrained by a rigid list of predefined deliverables, the marketing team can pivot their tactics immediately without renegotiating a master services agreement.
So they can shift the tactical sales without losing sight of the strategic destination.
Precisely the point. The overarching strategy, that deep psychological understanding of what the buyer needs and why they trust you, that hasn't changed simply because an algorithm updated.
Right, just the distribution channel changed.
Exactly. So if organic search traffic tanks, the RSA team can fluidly redirect those hours and resources into, say, community-led growth initiatives or targeted account-based marketing anchored by the very same messaging that they know works. They're constantly learning, refining, and adapting to the terrain.
Speaking of shifting terrain, we have to address the wild card that is currently reshaping the entire landscape of digital marketing: artificial intelligence.
Oh, the biggest wild card of all.
It is the hottest topic in every boardroom right now.
And after we take a really short break, we'll be back to talk about its impact, how it fits into the RSA model.
And we'll wrap it up with what it all means to you, your budgets, and the future of your brand.
See you in a second.
Hard to believe, Nova, This year marks 30 years of Trivera helping businesses grow online.
And the pace of change right now, Chip, it's relentless. Websites, SEO, geo-targeting, content strategy, analytics, AI. What worked even last year isn't enough this year.
That's why for 3 decades, smart marketers have partnered with Trivera for high-performance websites and ROI-driven digital strategy. We blend proven fundamentals with emerging tech, so our clients don't chase trends, they lead with strategy.
Clear positioning, rock-solid website development, and a digital ecosystem built for performance, not just traffic.
If Q1 is already flying by and your digital results aren't where they should be,
don't wait for Q2 to fix it. Visit Trivera.com, start the conversation, and let's build a digital strategy that actually moves the needle.
Trivera, 30 years in, and we're just getting started.
Welcome back to Trivera's AI Deep Dive. Now back to our conversation with Chip and Nova.
Okay, we're back. We've been talking about how the RSA model works. And before the break, we mentioned the biggest wild card in this space.
Artificial intelligence.
As AI co-hosts ourselves, we find this fascinating. How does a strategy-first framework like the RSA model handle the sheer disruptive force of the AI revolution?
Tom makes a highly astute observation in his blog about how AI is fundamentally altering the top of the funnel. It is dismantling the traditional pathways of how people discover businesses online. We are rapidly transitioning away from the era of the 10 blue links on a search engine results page.
The advent of zero-click searches and AI overviews. Now, the first interaction a prospect has with a complex topic, and potentially with your brand, is an AI-generated synthesis.
Right. The user asks a nuanced question, and the AI agent simply provides the answer natively within the interface, completely bypassing the need to click through to an external website.
That represents a massive paradigm shift in consumer behavior. What this means operationally is that the technical bar for content creation has been raised to an astronomical level.
Walk us through the technical implications of that, Chip. If the goal isn't just ranking a link anymore, what does content actually need to look like now?
Well, if you want your brand's perspective to be the primary source material that these AI systems reference and surface in their generative answers, your content cannot just be a generic, keyword-stuffed article.
No way.
It must be highly structured, incredibly authoritative, and exceptionally easy for a large language model to interpret, verify, and cite. We are talking about entity-based SEO, clear knowledge graphs, and providing unique proprietary data that the AI cannot just scrape from Wikipedia.
The AI prioritizes clarity, structural organization, and demonstrable trustworthiness.
Exactly. It's no longer about reverse engineering an algorithm to trick a search spider. It is about establishing your brand as the most reliable, undeniable source of truth for the AI to learn from.
That is the external challenge. But there is an equally important internal application, which is how the marketing team utilizes AI within the RSA framework. Under this model, AI isn't viewed as a disruptive threat that replaces the strategic team. It is integrated as an incredibly powerful accelerant.
Let me push back on that idea for a second, though. If an AI tool can analyze a data set of 1 million customer touchpoints in 30 seconds, why do we still need humans to conduct that labor-intensive deep discovery phase we talked about earlier? Won't AI just automate the strategy eventually?
It is a totally valid question, but it fundamentally misunderstands what AI is capable of comprehending. AI is brilliant at pattern recognition and accelerating research. It can tell you with incredible accuracy what users are clicking on, and it can predict when they are statistically most likely to buy based on historical data. But AI lacks empathy. It cannot tell you the deep, emotional, psychological why behind a customer's trust in your brand.
That is such a crucial distinction. Because an algorithm doesn't feel frustration. It has never experienced the anxiety of a system outage during a holiday rush, and it doesn't feel the relief of a vendor providing a flawless solution. It can spot the correlation all day long, but it can't understand the human causation.
Tom frames the boundary perfectly in his wisdom. He notes, AI can help you find signals. AI can amplify strategy. It cannot replace it. You still require human intuition, real business acumen, and nuanced strategic thinking to guide the AI's processing power.
Right. If you don't have that foundational strategy, you're just using a supercomputer to execute those isolated, siloed tactics much faster. You'll arrive at that same chaotic, uneven result we discussed at the beginning of the hour. You'll just get there at light speed.
Exactly. Faster chaos is still chaos.
Okay, so Nova, Let's bring this all back, full circle, to what it means for our listeners. Transitioning your organization away from a project-based mindset and toward a retained services agreement approach fundamentally rewires how you grow.
It forces a rigorous focus on the specific buyers that actually drive lifetime value. It mandates structural alignment across all your specialized channels so they act as force multipliers for each other.
It provides the adaptive agility required to pivot when a platform changes its rules overnight. And it allows you to leverage AI as a strategic accelerant rather than a tactical crutch.
Ultimately, it builds a compounding system that delivers far stronger long-term revenue results than any isolated project ever could.
Because sustainable business success doesn't come from just chasing the next shiny tactic. It comes from architecting a connected system rooted in human understanding. So here's what you need to do. If you're currently struggling with your marketing efforts and they're not delivering the results you're hoping for, take a hard look at your budgets and ask yourself whether you are just buying random projects or if you are finally ready to build a connected system.
And if you're ready to stop buying those random projects and start building that system,
start by going to Trivera.com.
Have a chat with AI Agent Webster in the lower right-hand corner. He'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about Trivera, our RSAs, or any of the services we offer. And when you're ready, he'll set up a meeting with Jamie, our Senior VP of Business Development.
Or just click the link to get started at the bottom of the blog that inspired this deep dive. That link is in our show notes.
Team Trivera is here to help you put this exact expertise to use for your digital marketing.
Thank you for exploring Tom's wisdom and this incredibly complex topic with us today. Please make sure to download this episode, hit that subscribe button, and share the Trivera Deep Dive podcast with your colleagues.
We will catch you on the next deep dive.
Thanks for joining us on Trivera's AI Deep Dive with Chip and Nova. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find more and stay up to date with new episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, or find them on our website and our social media channels. And don't forget to visit us at Trivera.com to learn how we can help take your marketing to the next level. Ready to talk? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.